والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وخير الخلق أجمعين أبي القاسم محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين صلوات Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, first of all, I'd like to make 2 or 3 quick announcements. First of all, an apology to Mawlaya Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman and all those who love him dearly for not wearing black today. I had to rush down straight away from work, so inshallah Mawla will forgive me, and inshallah you will forgive me also. Second of all, I want to, today is the best day to make the announcement because the next few days will be strictly Masayib. So me, Sister Farah Ali Mirza and Sister Alia Zaidi have, we have in plan, in motion, is Unchained Words, which is to get young Shias or Shias who speak English to come together and inshallah start creating some form of poetry, because Imam Sajjad alayhi salamullah, when he returned from captivity, can we have a louder salawat for our Mawla? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. When he returned from captivity, the first thing he said, he turned to one of his companions known as Bishr. So he said, Bishr, go into Medina and recite poetry telling the people what's happened to us. So Bishr walks into Medina and he says his famous poetry, O people of Yathrib, Medina, O people of Yathrib, what have you left in it? قتل الحسين في Kerbala. Hussein is being murdered in Kerbala, so shed your tears for him. And this was the first form of, how can we say, it wasn't the very first form, but it was a form of expression to tell the people of the sufferings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah. So we, inshallah, following the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah, wish to start something along those lines where we're going to find, inshallah, the next Marsiya or the next Noha in English for English speakers. So this is one thing, inshallah you'll find soon on Facebook or on the website for SPL. You'll find some notes on that, and inshallah we should have that ready by Arba'een of Imam Hussein alayhi salamullah. Another thing is, I was going through some of the messages which some of the brothers and sisters have left. Thank you very much for your support. And alhamdulillah, I'm very, very glad that you are enjoying the talks. However, I would like to say one thing. And that is, most of the thanks doesn't actually go to me. It goes to the people who put in the effort and the time. The people who went around to organize everything. So I would like you to, on your way out, to acknowledge them. And they are the people of SPL who Brother Amir announced in the beginning. He announced their names. So inshallah you remember them in your du'as. And believe me, they have done much more than I have. And they have only invited me here. But they're the ones who put in the time and the effort to make this a success for us. So without further ado, we will carry on with our talks, and we will start with the loudest of your salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So far we've looked at society, we've looked at social identities, and we've looked at values, both Western and Islamic. Now, yesterday I was approached by an individual who asked me to just quickly point out the difference, because in the Western society there are human rights. We cannot deny that. And there are also women's rights. We also can't deny that. So what is the difference? The difference here is that when Islam came and gave the woman her rights, it gave the rights unconditional. Islam didn't think, well, hold on, there's a market here. If the women have the right to work, then I can make more money out of them. If every woman can walk into Marks and Spencer's and Selfridges and there's a whole stock of things for her to buy, then there's a bigger market for me. Islam didn't take these into consideration. Islam took into the consideration the fact that the woman is the equal creation of man, and that she is equally the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With this regards, I could say, in the Christian faith, they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first created Adam. And then from the rib of Adam, He created Eve. Now this automatically means the woman is always dependent on the man, and she will always be subservient. Whereas in the Quran al-Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? He says, your parents, both of them, were made of clay. Adam and Eve, alayhim salamullah. Adam wa Hawa. Here, there is a difference in their importance. Someone will say, well, why are they not totally equal? We say they are equal in every respect. However, they carry different responsibilities. They have different qualities. For example, take rain and snow. They are both from water. Water which evaporated and then became a cloud. However, different circumstances, sometimes when the weather is at certain temperature, it will become water. Then sometimes you will find that it's snow. Now they're both from the same thing, they're both from water, but they have what? They have different attributes to them. In the same sense, we say Adam and Eve were both from clay. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam for a purpose and He created Eve for a purpose. So with this respect, we say Islam, when it gave women her rights, it gave them unconditionally. However, if we look into the Western society, we see that women's movement for rights only started to occur when? After the World War I and II. Why? Because when there was a shortage of men, because all the men were at war and there was a shortage, women were called to help the men. How? To be the nurse. Now when women saw this freedom, they didn't want to go back to the old days where they had no value at all in society. So then a movement began to happen. When the people who were in control decided to let women have their rights, they didn't see it as out of humanity, that they are our equals. No, rather in fact they thought, well, hold on, there's a market here. And we can exploit this market, so we will do it. Islam doesn't exploit anybody. It doesn't exploit the position of a weak person. Rather, in fact, Islam supports and guides everyone. So this is with regards to the difference in the values. Whereas Islam gives it unconditional. In Western discourse, obviously because we are living in a capitalistic society, everything is based on capitalism. For example, in Islam, when I give charity, I'm not giving it so that they say, well, mashallah, so-and-so gave £60 today. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, rather, in fact, I would like you to give charity discreetly, in secrecy. That's better for you, only if you knew. When I give charity, it's not because I want to gain profit out of it, no. If you look at every charity, you will find that by the end of the year, they are making certain amount of profits. Me speaking from personal experience, as a university student, I work for a charity company called Gift Aid, where they go around standing on the streets collecting charity for people like Bernardo's or for companies like Child Protection. Now, out of all the jobs I had, believe it or not, this is a charity company. They paid me the most. £9, £75 an hour. Now, if this was truly charity, why won't you give me minimum wage? Because obviously all the money is going somewhere else. To help the poor. To help those who are in need. However, the fact that you can afford to give me £9 an hour says what? You are making enough profit to entice me with £9 an hour to be standing in the streets in the cold weather so I can make you some more money. I'm not questioning the authenticity of whether you're giving this money to the poor or not. The question here is, are you making any profit out of it? Islam says give whether you're making profit or not. Anyway, we will leave this now to one side, and I want to now turn towards the Muslim identity. Yesterday we briefly touched on what it means to be a Muslim with regards to values set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. Today I want to look at the downfall of that. Now somebody might say to you, well, if these are the things that Rasulullah brought forward in his time, how comes today Muslims are running around blowing themselves up? How comes Muslims are so impatient? How comes they are so aggressive? What went wrong? When did the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam come to a stop, and what took place in them? If you remove something, something else must take its place. We spoke slightly about ethics and morals. I want to look at it from a different angle.